What is up, everybody? What's going on? Eagles get the W 28-3, move to 3-2 on the season. Talking top takeaways, reaction, grades, and more. Joining me, he is Shane at ShaneHalfNFL on X. What's up, Shane?
What's up, man? 364 days since the last time the Eagles won a game by more than a possession. It felt really good not to be stressed out in the fourth quarter. That was a lot of fun.
Pretty much every single post game, we start with the show. Wouldn't it be nice to enjoy an Eagles game? Here we are, man. This was relaxing. Felt nice to not have my blood sugar spiked at an all-time high watching this one in the second half. Also joining us, the best Eagles follow Twitter there is on Twitter. He is Johnny Page at JohnnyPage9. What's going on, man?
Yeah, looking at the stats that you have on the screen is just hilarious. There is something that incredibly funny about just seeing Saquon Barkley 17 for 176 and then Hurts only throwing 14 attempts and Kenny Pickett being in there and Drew Lock being in there. That screams like an old school preseason pregame. That is quite amazing. Those stats are hilarious. Yeah, this was a very good game. As you mentioned, it was nice to just watch the second half with complete chill. Yeah, this was a good one.
Yeah, the Eagles threw for 16 yards in the second half.
I love it. We're going to break down our top takeaways, our offensive takeaways, defensive takeaways. My God, there's a lot of them. I'll throw it to you, Shane. I think we got to start off with the star of the game, Saquon Barkley, returning to the Meadowlands, 17 carries for 176 yards and a touchdown. Big play after big play, really putting this Eagles offense on his back. Quick reaction, thoughts on Saquon?
Yeah, I mean, Saquon was awesome in this game. He gets 0.53 EPA per play. Literally every time the Eagles handed him the football, it was worth a half a point. And he wanted that. I wish that they would have given him the ball on the goal line to get a second touchdown because you have the stat now about Jalen Hurts has scored more rushing touchdowns than the Giants have total touchdowns in MetLife this season. I wish we could say that about Barkley instead, but incredible game from Barkley. And he's consistent, and then he hits the home runs. His success rate was 53%. So he was consistently generating positive plays, and then he hits a few of those home runs. And he's just a lot of fun to watch, man. For my money, his best run of the day was a 3-yard gain where he hit a spin move in the backfield. Should have been dropped for a loss, but that one's not going to make the highlight reels. But man, he's just so much fun to watch.
My favorite one was with Cam Jurgens in the second level. Look at my man Cam. He looks so proud that he's like, yes, I'm right there parallel with Saquon, and then Saquon just leaves him in the dust. Johnny, what was your reaction to Saquon today?
Yeah, I've been the Saquon guy. I tweeted this is the dream game for me as run the ball guy. This is basically everything I've ever wanted. Just the Eagles just to basically do nothing but just run the ball. The Eagles found a market in efficiency. Running back. Saquon Barkley, what was it, 3 years, 36 million or whatever total? He's unbelievable. And there's basically, I tweeted, is he the best running back in football? But I genuinely think he is. I think CMC, when he's fully healthy, might give a little bit more versatility. But he can do literally everything. First drive, he just runs over a guy when he catches it in the flat, just full on, runs through him like Derrick Henry style. The burst is as good as I've ever seen from an Eagles back. He's so explosive. And then Shane mentioned the short run as well. When it's sort of murky in the hole and it's a little bit muddy, he makes a spin move. And it's not even the spin move that's great. The way he spins, then stops, and then goes. That acceleration is so rare. So rare. Yeah, the Eagles, the team that never pay running backs, all of a sudden paid possibly the best running back in the league. And it's probably the biggest reason why they're 4-2. He's had a slightly odd start to the year where he's arguably been responsible for the 2 defeats in a weird way as well. But he's been the Eagles' best player all year, and he was the Eagles' best player once again today. And watching back the film is going to be awesome. Going to be absolutely awesome because there are so many just incredible runs in this game. Yeah, this was the identity I've been calling for ages. Just run it until they can stop it. And they basically couldn't stop it all game.
Can I give you guys an insane stat?
I'm here for it, Shane.
So I mentioned the Eagles only had 16 passing yards in the second half. Guess how many passing yards the Giants had in the second half?
I have no idea.
12.
Oh my God.
The Eagles, who were trying to run out the clock, had 16 passing yards, and it was still somehow more than the Giants. That's incredible.
That's fantastic. Let's get some comments, guys. If you're new to Eagles Pinpool Network, please like, subscribe, keep commenting your thoughts on the game. We'll get to Jalen Hurts in a second. We have Tack saying like and follow for more expert predictions. Alec saying first stress-free game in 365 days.
Hey, I was at that game. It was not stress-free. That Dolphins game was not stress-free.
Wait, that was the game we were there together.
Yeah.
Did we put a curse on the Eagles, Shane?
Maybe. We don't need to talk about it. But I can assure you that one was not stress-free. This one was, though. It was nice.
Stress-free win is great, but it's the Giants, too. If only we could play the Browns and the Giants every single week. I'm not going to say that, but I just did. Finally, a Bryce Huff sack, 10.4 yards per carry. Saquon and Derrick Henry. That's the blood of this team, right, Johnny? Like, this team is a running offense. When is Nick Sirianni and the offense going to put the passing to the side and just say, hey, this is what we do best? Let's have Saquon be the engine.
Yeah, this should have been the identity of the team for years. Like, when they've got the O-line they have, and by the way, they didn't even have Jordan Mailata today, and they still ran the ball over the Giants who had Dexter Lawrence. Like, when we talk about identities, I think not enough is said about the way the league is going. These teams are not built to stop running games. Like, there's not many you don't get big old school linebackers anymore that can take a guard on and, like, basically beat the block and thump for a tackle for loss. Like, this is the way the game is at the moment. This is what the team is doing. There was a stage in today, like, I don't know if you guys saw the tweet. It was just before Jalen Hurts' deep shot to A.J. Brown. So at that point, and that was relatively far into the second quarter, there was 2 NFL quarterbacks that had thrown a touchdown in the whole of week 1 for everything. And those 2 of them were Mason Rudolph and Tyler Huntley. And that was an hour into the game today. 1 hour in, there had been 2 passing touchdowns. And as I said, Mason Rudolph and Tyler Huntley. Like, this should be the identity, the offense right now. It fits the offense so well. It means A.J. Brown can go down the field. It means you're going to get single high coverage. It's what the Eagles need to do. And the best thing about today was they didn't give up, because the first couple of drives, they ran the ball quite well, but they didn't score any points, and they got themselves into a couple of horrible third and long situations, and the offense looked bad again, but they just kept coming out and running it and running it and running it. And I think eventually, I speak about running the ball being a mentality thing. You just wear teams down. The Giants just basically were done. Like, they were fed up. On that 9-play drive when Hurts had the scramble on 3rd and 7. I think it was 8 runs in a scramble or something. Like, that is horrible for a defense. You don't see that in the NFL in 2024. You haven't the past 5 years. And I've got more I want to say on the scheme in general as well when we get to a little bit more of the offensive scheme stuff. But that should be the Eagles' identity: run the ball, play action. Jalen Hurts run the ball as well, and then take deep shots. And it's going to annoy people at times. And obviously, you can't just do that. You need a little bit more. In the middle of the field in the short game, which we'll probably get to as some of the negatives, but like, that's how it should be. People talk about this team not having an identity, and I said it a couple of weeks ago. The identity is staring them in the face. It is right there. Just run the hell out the ball and then figure out the rest off of it.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to see Saquon get the ball for like more than 1 or 2 plays at a time. Just keep feeding it. Don't stop. Like, the Eagles tend to get too cute. First down, run the ball. Second down, they pass or have a negative play, and then 3rd and long. Like, just keep feeding Saquon according to PFF and their stats. I think these change here and there, but he had 4 missed tackles today. He had 3 runs of 10 yards or more. Shane, what's your thoughts on just the offensive game plan today as we kind of shift to Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, it's still frustrating to see the early start or the slow starts. I mean, you come out, you pick up a first down on the first drive, but then you punt 3 and out the second drive, punt the third drive before you go back-to-back touchdowns. And we spoke at the halftime show, like, you get out of your game script for the touchdowns when you get the ball with 3 minutes left in the first half, and you kind of go pass, and punt it back quickly. And then you come out of the half and you go 3 and out again. And at that point, I tweeted out, like, the Eagles have gone 3 and out on like 47% of their drives today. And then you respond with the 2 touchdowns. And it's just like the consistent slow starts are concerning. Like, you would love to come out and go on one of those 10-play, 92-yard drives where you'd rather not go on a 92-yard drive to start the game. That probably means you had a terrible kick return. But you would love to, like, impose your will early in the game and come out and punch a team in the mouth. And that's something the Eagles have still struggled to do. But they got there, and they got there a lot quicker in this game than I felt like they did in the Browns game or in some of the other games this season. And so it's a step in the right direction. And people are going to say it's just against the Giants. The Giants defense is pretty good. Now the offense is not great, but this is a Giants team that, they only lost to the Commanders by 3. They beat the Seahawks. They were 17-7 to the Bengals last week. This isn't a bad defense. In fact, it's a really good front seven. Like, they led the league in sacks coming into this game. They had the second most tackles for loss. Dexter Lawrence is incredible. And you come in down an offensive tackle, and then you lose an offensive guard pretty early. I like that they were able to get something going. I would like to see it start earlier, and hopefully they can build on that, over the next couple of weeks.
All right, let's jump into Jalen Hurts. Guys in the comments, let us know your grade A to F on Jalen Hurts in this one. 10 of 14, 114 yards, and a touchdown. I'm going to scroll down real quick. He did have 22 yards, 2 of those being a tush-push touchdowns. The one where he evaded pressure and had a nice first down run. I'll start with you, Shane. Quick grade on Jalen Hurts and your takeaway of Hurts' performance.
I would give him like a B- today. I thought there were some things that he missed on in this game. A perfect microcosm of this game is the touchdown to A.J. Brown, which is a terrific throw delivered with a defensive tackle in his face on 4th and 3. And if you just watch that play, you're like, what a great throw. What a great job by A.J. Brown to bring it in. But then you watch the play before when he misses Devontae Smith on the 3rd and 3, who's wide open for the first down. And so it was a little bit of that. There were some times that he held onto the ball a little bit. He misses Devontae Smith. He misses Saquon Barkley on that wheel route down in the red zone. And on that one, Saquon's not your primary. He's looking at the tight end, but I just want him to recognize quicker the cornerback and the linebacker both suck in on the tight end, so no one can be in the flat. And so there were some missed opportunities. And then there's stuff like that throw to A.J. Brown. And like the only 3rd down they converted, he fakes the snap, and you get the linebacker coming through the B gap. He's going to blitz. And then inexplicably, Kenny Gainwell just runs away from that guy to the right side. And so Hurts is now on a 3rd, and I think it was 3, has a free runner in his face, and he shakes him off and runs for the first down. And so Hurts has those plays, and then he has some of the plays that are a little irritating. But at the end of the day, it's the second straight game with what I believe will be 0 turnover-worthy plays. So I'll give him like a B-. There's some stuff he missed, but more good than bad.
I agree. What about you, Johnny?
Yeah, before he goes defense, can we come back on the run just one final time, because I'm still not done celebrating the run game. I'll pitch James and do what I'm being told to do. By the way, on that first play, the first touchdown, when you just had the highlights there, Dave, sorry, for those of you watching, Tyler Steen had an awesome pickup. He just got there on a stunt. I don't know if any of you have spotted it, but the Giants sent a stunt when Hurts was under pressure on 4th and 3. And if you watch it again, Tyler Steen just got there. Like I've said this before, we take for granted how good he is down the field, Jalen Hurts. That throw is not easy. And you watch a lot of NFL quarterbacks miss deep throws. And him and A.J. Brown are about as good as a duo as you can basically get going down the field. The problems are still there. Look, if you look at this very quickly, for those of you watching, Steen just picks it up, like just. But that play would have been blown dead. It
was good to see him stay in the pocket too. There are times where I get frustrated with Jalen. Like step into the pocket, and he stuck and made a great throw.
And do you know what it is? It's almost like 4th and 3. You sort of have to. There's almost like he sort of doesn't have a choice. I struggled quite a lot with Hurts in this game. I'll be honest. I hate the missed throw to Barkley in the flat. My only issue with that is you've got screenshot Twitter come out. And for those of you that have been watching film for a long time will know there's nothing worse than screenshot Twitter in the entire world. Like taking a screenshot of Saquon Barkley being wide open doesn't really mean anything. Like he obviously looks wide open, and I would assume post-game he would admit, and they would admit they got that one wrong. But you also don't know the call. Like if he thinks there's going to be something coming open in the middle and Saquon Barkley his fifth read, like I don't know. Sometimes that stuff looks worse than it actually is in the film room. The one that is really bad is the 3rd and 3. because I know for a fact that was the play call because it's a shallow crossing route and he's right in front of his eye line, and he just doesn't throw it. So that one is a clear miss. The Saquon Barkley one in the flat, I'm not just trying to defend him for the sake of it. Like, I don't know. He looks wide open, but we're not in the QB room. If he's told to like let that play develop, because I think it's like a mesh concept, the shallow cross, it looks like there's a sit for the tight end. He might be told to sort of let it play out, let the underneath route go, and then try and hit the tight end over the top. It's sort of impossible to know. I sort of hate the passing game, and I feel like it's so frustrating because they're so near and they don't need to do much. Because when you run the game and you can throw the ball down the field, you just need enough in the middle of the field, and they've got mesh and they've got like nothing else. They ran, and someone did tweet me saying it was an RPO, and I might have been wrong, but they ran either an RPO or a play action, and they ran it in the second quarter, I think. I think it might be the first play of the second, or no, first play of the second half, sorry, where
AJ Brown.
It. Yes, and he just threw a dig route to AJ Brown, and I'm fed up with people saying he can't make that throw because I've seen him make that throw. It's just never there. And I'm like, AJ Brown, when he was at the Titans, was not a down the field guy. He was a quick slant and run, deep in and run. The down the field stuff was like a bonus. That was not his game. He is unbelievably good at that. And I watch Jalen Hurts throw that ball, and I'm like, why do we not do that like 15 times a game? I find that a little bit infuriating. The quick game isn't there. And I think one reason why the quick game isn't there is they don't really have any explosive threat in the short, like to intermediate. Like Devontae Smith is obviously very, very good with the ball in his hands, but he's not what I'd call like a traditional wide receiver free, like that wide receiver running back hybrid. Jahan Dotson's not doing it. Grant Calcaterra cannot block, which basically ruins your screen game in the perimeter, because what all teams do is they run bunches, they put the tight end at the front of the bunch, they run the screen behind him, and they ran it once today, and it was nearly a pick six because Grant Calcaterra like cannot block a defensive back, let alone a guy in the run game. So the passing game is like really limited. I'm seeing a comment coming in as now saying a similar thing, that Saquon wasn't the first read, and I agree with you. That's not always. That's why I hate screenshot Twitter. I'm not going to kill him for that play. The big thing about Jalen for me is we talk about identity, and you know what? If this team's identity is going to be run the hell out of the ball and throw it deep, then what the quarterback needs to do is not turn it over and make a few special plays. And 3rd and 7, that play was special. That 4th and 3, that touchdown was special, and no turnovers. And it wasn't just any turnovers. There wasn't really a time that he put the ball in harm's way at all. Big picture, the passing game's got a lot to do. I didn't like the concepts. There was a 3rd and 10 early on in the game when they showed the All-22 live, and there was literally nothing. Like, you can criticize Jalen Hurts for taking the sack all you want, but there was nothing. It was 2x2. It was shotgun. It was Fred Johnson 1-on-1 versus Brian Burns. There was no chip. There was no running back and pass protection. And I called it amateurish. And maybe that's a bit harsh, but it felt a little bit amateurish to me. So I'd say the same as Shane, like B- for this game. Jalen Hurts did everything we needed of him, but moving forward, it will not be this easy, and we will have to see a little bit more from him.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that.
Hold on. Back-to-back games of 0 turnover where they play, Shane.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that the dig route you were talking about to AJ Brown, I think that was just play action. I don't think that was
what I thought.
but
I must admit, I thought it was play action, and someone tweet. You know, it's like in the game. You watch a play once, you tweet about it, and then someone replies to you, and you go, "Oh God, got it horribly wrong."
Yeah, I'll have to watch it again. I wasn't super locked in on the O-line, but.
And there's a comment coming in as well about should they abuse play action more? Like, yes, when you can run the ball this well, you are going to kill teams with play action because they are going to be terrified. The first play of the game, the under center play action throw to AJ Brown, I'm like, it's not that hard, guys. It's not that hard. I'm not going to complain too much because the passing game was fine for what it needed to be today. Seeing Devontae Smith having 1 catch for -2 yards is going to be a really interesting discussion about how he is in the locker room after. I'm sure he's a good team player. I'm sure he's fine. But receivers don't like going 1 for -2 on a day when their team wins 28-3.
Can I play a little audio clip real fast?
You bet.
All right, here we go. I just need to play this for my own personal reasons.
I have a tough time sleeping if Saquon goes to Philadelphia. Just being out. I've been around enough players, so but he's the most popular player we have by far.
Yeah.
So there you go. I do also just want to point out that Saquon Barkley had more yards than the New York Giants, despite not playing the entire fourth quarter. So
Right, whilst we're doing the Saquon bit, can I just give you the final thing I wanted to on the running game, and I promise I'll shut up about it. You guys are the stats guys, not me, but I'm pretty sure the Eagles had like 3 big runs in this game, and they may have had more, as in Saquon Barkley's one. I had it down as 3, and what I love about all 3 is how different all of them are. So when you talk about a run scheme, I already know exactly what I'm going to see in the all-22, which is always nice because my job's done for me. So the first one was at 0-0. Do you say 0-0? Is that an NFL? Is that an American term? That's definitely an English term, isn't it?
We would say 0-0.
Yeah, I'm going to say 0-0 because I'm British. I'll just bring the hate in the comments, guys. So at 0-0, they run the pinball play, which I got a lot of tweets saying pinball, which is great for us, like branding and all. If you've got the play up, Dives, what's awesome about it is watch as well. This is after the truck, sorry. There is a Cam Jurgens who everyone sees going flying around the outside. AJ Brown gets a brilliant block coming down on the safety, which leaves the cornerback isolated. And Tyler Steen, if you can see here, Tyler Steen gets flying into the second level. And I think we might have a discussion about Tyler Steen starting soon, by the way, because I thought he was good. So what you've got is you've got a shotgun, like pinball play to the outside, where you're killing a team to the outside. So this play here, you're ignoring Dexter Lawrence, you're running it outside. You see AJ Brown coming down on the safety. You see Cam Jurgens managing to get it down the cornerback. So the first one is you beat the team to the outside. That was explosive play 1. The second explosive play was at 14-3. Now we're running split zone with the tight end coming across the formation. And don't worry if you haven't got all the plays, Dives, because I know Saquon had a lot of big plays today. But the second one was at 14-3. This is the split zone one for anyone watching. The difference that Hurts makes, watch 41, the Giants linebacker. He literally follows Hurts all the way. And you guys know I'm an under center. I'm a pistol guy. But when Kellen Moore says the shotgun is best for Jalen, this is what he means. Like, this stuff, the threat of Jalen Hurts running here, people don't want to hear it, but one of the reasons why the running game is so good is because of Jalen Hurts still. Because the threat of him as a runner completely ruins 41 on the Giants there. And the other great thing about this is the tight end ends up running to the flat as well. And we've seen, how many times have we seen the Eagles run this RPO play where they throw it to the flat? So you've basically building on what the offense already does well. So you've got one outside pinball play. Then you've got a split zone from shotgun running it down the middle. And then the third explosive play was at 21-3. And this is where it gets great, is under center lead with Ben Van Sumeren as a fullback running straight down your throat. Like I've never seen the Eagles like run lead. Like Jeff Stoutland and the Eagles the last few years don't run ISO lead. Like we don't see a fullback in the game. And now you've got this. So if you're a team coming against the Eagles, and by the way, we didn't even see an outside zone toss, which is what we saw last week. We didn't even see any like counter or tackle trap or any of that. You're going against a running game that has 3 explosive plays today. They run a pinball to the outside. They run an inside zone where Jalen Hurts looks like he could keep it. And then they run lead ISO with a linebacker at fullback. Like, that is what you call a multiple run game. And that's really tough to stop because it's not easy keying on what the Eagles are going to do. Last week was a bit more predictable. This week, the running game was also. I think when you get into the All-22, there's going to be a ton of different running concepts. And that goes down to coaching. Stoutland and Moore, that is a hell of a job combining because you've got the Jeff Stoutland influences on the first play, and then you've got Kellen Moore because this Eagles team has not run ISO lead for a long, long time with a fullback. So it's just pretty cool. It's pretty cool, man, because the running game is really fun.
Amen. Let's jump into the Eagles receivers. Not really a lot to talk about in this side, but, A.J. Brown, 5 receptions, 89 yards, and a touchdown. I think the biggest take here is Devontae Smith, 2 targets in this one. And this kind of goes to the Eagles' offensive game plan. I thought, especially in the first quarter, of course, as we always say, but there were times when like third downs where they're running straight vertical routes. Get Devontae in space. Get that guy yards after reception. Like, I don't understand why he's not more involved into this offense. Shane, thoughts on the Eagles wide receivers?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's much to look at really today. It was clearly I don't know that they came into it thinking we're going to run the ball all over the Giants, but it became pretty apparent early with the pass rush for the Giants just teeing off. That's what the game was going to turn into. And I don't know that there's much to take away, honestly, from the receivers in this one, other than A.J. Brown's phenomenal. And like you said, you'd like to see Devontae Smith get involved underneath a little bit more. But I really don't have a whole lot to say. It's not great when your second leading receiver has 11 yards. That's generally not a great sign of a good passing day. But the Eagles didn't need it today, and they really leaned into the run.
What about you, Johnny?
Yeah, I'm gonna whisper this like very quietly because I'll get killed on Twitter. But I like saying, I guess, controversial things I think I can back up. I've been saying for a while that the Eagles' offense runs through AJ Brown and Saquon Barkley, and Devontae Smith's a very good player, and he could be in another team an elite receiver, but he's not going to be. Like, his numbers consistently throughout his career, he has big games and he has big plays. But if you look at his numbers from like a career like snap basis, he's never really been in this offense like the guy that's going to get targeted massively. And he seems to have accepted that. And fair play to him, because I think he's so talented. I think he could be on another team. Obviously, one catch from -2 yards is a little bit ridiculous. But just in general, it's not the only time he's had games like this. I mean, last week he only had 3 for 64. If you go back through his career, this is not the only time that he's like this. I think there is obviously a worry with spreading the football around, but it's just hard to analyze this game because they just didn't need to. Like, it's hard to complain. They won 28-3 and they really didn't need to do it. So this could have been a very different game if the Giants were scoring and the defense wasn't playing well and they had to throw more. But you can't exactly complain too much. And I know he had like 2 plays against him, so it's not his fault. But like the EPA per play when they target AJ Brown in this game is like above 2. And when they target Devontae Smith, it's -1. Now that's because there was the horrible screen pass that wasn't his fault, obviously. And Jalen Hurts ignored him. But like, the Eagles have got absolute monster at AJ Brown, and they've got elite running back. And there's not going to just be not a lot of games where they're all going to get like 12 plus targets. It sucks for Devontae, but there will be games like this because that's how the offense is built.
It's funny because my take is like they overspent on Jahan Dotson, but they underspent AJ Brown. Like, AJ Brown is worth so much to this Eagles offense. There are no words to explain. Like, he is unbelievable right now. Let's roll on to the defense unless anybody else has any more thoughts on the offense. Going once.
I have no more thoughts on our offense, but Jaden Daniels is now in the locker room with an injury for the Commanders, so that's something to monitor division-wise.
Shane, this was a beautiful day. It's my birthday. I literally have him on my fantasy football team in every single league. So,
oh no, I'm
sorry. Thanks for ruining it for me.
Yeah, sorry about that. Happy birthday.
Injury. He has been an injury risk all season.
Oh, no, that's heartbreaking. I hope
just one thing I want to shout out, I already have, but Tyler Steen, man, he's looked good this year. He's looked good when he plays, and I really think the Eagles might have a decision to make soon because they drafted him, they've developed him, he's playing well, and Becton's on a 1-year deal and has come from another organization. I think Steen might be the kind of guy that you want to give the chance to now because he is the guy that you want. I think ideally you want him to win that job, and if he's playing really well, why the hell not?
I said in the offseason I thought Steen should win that job, and he didn't. And then the game that Becton left hurt and Steen came in and played really well, I was like, this should be Steen's job to keep, and it wasn't. And I still think that. I just think he's a better player than Becton. And I know they like the big guards that can move in the run game, but I'm with you. Tyler Steen, I would like to see him as the right guard.
All right, let's get into this defense. I don't even know where to start. So many positives. Yes, it is the Giants, but they were feasting, especially the pass rush. I thought Quinyon Mitchell was terrific. We're going to get into every little area here. I'll throw it to you, Johnny, first. Where do you want to go with the defense?
I mean, we've got a defensive line, haven't we?
Yep.
Where the hell do you go? Like, the Giants had backups, and early on, it looked like the left tackle was going to get killed, but all their sacks weren't just on the same guy. Like, they were winning consistently. It shows what happens when you get an offense into a situation where they have to pass. It makes people look worse. But everyone showed up. Like, I don't know where you want to go. I think Jalen Carter's obviously an absolute superstar. Nolan Smith and Bryce Huff played well, which is really good to see. Josh Sweat had the sack earlier on when he got past the tight end chip, and Josh Sweat's pressure numbers are good this year. I was looking at Brandon Fulham's like true sack rate the other day, and Josh Sweat's pressures are good. I think maybe because his play against the run has been so bad, like I think maybe people have got sort of negative opinions of him this year. But he rushed the quarterback well. Milton Williams had some plays. Carter's a freak. Like, it all went well. The one guy I'd really like to shout out rushing the quarterback was Nakobe Dean as well. Nakobe gets some bad hate online, man, like really bad hate. And I get it. He's not great in pass coverage. And I said it in my article last week. He probably will never be a clear starter. Like, he might not ever be a good enough to be someone you want to pay and start every week. But his effort last week was unreal on the film. I don't know if you noticed this, Shane, watching it back. He had a few really, really good hustle plays. And when he blitzes from that linebacker position, the play when he got got cut, and then basically like spun around and got straight back up. Like, there's not many players that will be able to make that play. So, yeah, big shout out to the defensive line and in particular, Nakobe Dean this week.
What about you, Shane?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see the pass rush starting to come alive. You have Nakobe Dean leads the team in pressures with 4. I guess Bryce Huff had 4 as well. And sometimes, like, there's one that Jalen Carter gets the sack on, but Nolan Smith won off the edge and is what forces Daniel Jones up into that. The same thing on the Nakobe Dean one where he gets cut. Bryce Huff wins off the edge and forces Daniel Jones up into Nakobe Dean. And so it's a team effort to get a sack, and they don't always, it doesn't always reflect everybody that's involved doesn't always get credit, but I thought it was a really solid day by the pass rushing unit. Again, you're playing Daniel Jones, who takes a lot of sacks, and you're playing a not very good offensive line, but it's good to see them step up in that way. And man, shout out to Jalix Hunt. Jalix Hunt records his first NFL stat, and it's a strip sack. I wish we could have recovered it. I wish he could have scooped and scored it, but Jalix Hunt getting that was kind of nice. I had to look that up. I was like, wait, is that Jalix Hunt? And then I was going to tweet the clip out, and I was like, wait, I've got to Google how to spell his name again because I haven't done that in 2 months. So shout out Jalix Hunt. I wish his name was easier to spell.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Guys. Brett Eclipse says Giants offense today felt like DJ was looking for neighbors who happened to be locked down by either Slay or Q. Bryce Huff looks different in a 4-point stance. Anybody else? Anybody have any thoughts on Bryce Huff and the 4-point stance take?
I know Shane does.
I think that is the most overrated thing that people talk about. I have issues with Brian Baldinger for bringing this narrative up because Bryce Huff rushed out of 4-point stances in the first few games too. And his sack in this game was out of a 2-point stance. And so I think that's just something that people have said, he's going to be in a 4-point stance sometimes. He's going to be in a 2-point stance sometimes. I have no doubt he's more comfortable out of a 4-point stance, but I do think it's overblown that everybody's like, Vic Fangio didn't know how to use this guy, and now he's learned. I think Bryce Huff was just bad the first few games, and hopefully he's turning a corner, not just playing bad teams now. I'm rooting for him. I want to see the athleticism I saw on tape from him, in the last couple of years for the Jets. And we've seen him be better the last 2 weeks. I just don't think it's solely related to he's in a 4-point stance now, because he's not always. One of his big plays today was out of a 2-point stance.
My take, I know we're jumping all over the place, but Quinyon Mitchell, my freaking God. Malik Neighbors had 4 receptions on 8 targets. The thing I can't wait to go to all 22 and watch Quinyon Mitchell versus Malik Neighbors. Q just plays beyond his years. I know he missed an interception again today. Eventually, we're going to get one. I promise. And I'm going to party. I'm going to party like I'm 21 years old, Shane. I'm going to freak out. It's going to be
at this point, when Quinyon Mitchell catches an interception, I'm going to assume it was an accident. He might have the worst hands. I love Quinyon Mitchell. Man, his hands are terrible.
Yes, it is. But major shout out to Q, especially that one tackle he had where he just lit that guy up like Brian Dawkins. That was fantastic. When's the last time you saw a corner do that? Anyway, he hits like Sheldon Brown. I loved Q's performance. Shane, what else do you want to talk about the Eagles defense?
Yeah, I mean, Quinyon Mitchell, you can't say enough good things about the guy. He pops on film. I think, he's played really well. And I think there's an unfortunate narrative around Philadelphia about Darius Slay, because I think Darius Slay has been a good player pretty much the whole time he's been in Philadelphia. I think people have discounted what Darius Slay's done this year. think sadly I saw some stuff going around online last week when he was injured. That's like, that's fine. We can get Isaiah Rodgers out there. Darius Slay's a good player, and Darius Slay had a really good game today. That one third down, I think it was a 3rd and 3, and they threw, I don't remember who the pass was to, but it was a little sit route, and Darius Slay closed on it. And the broadcast pointed out, like, oh, that's just got to be a catch. And like, I mean, you want your guy to catch that, but that was a tremendous play by Slay. He's sitting on off coverage. He breaks on the break. He makes contact right as the ball gets there. I thought Darius Slay played really well. He's never going to come down and lay a hit like Keely Ringo will do in a run fit or something. Like, that's not really his game. And people got irritated when he just kind of escorted Daniel Jones out of bounds on a first down run. He's not like a physical player in run defense, and he's just not going to be. But Darius Slay's really good. Darius Slay had a good game today, and I wish that people would ease up on Slay because he's still a really good player for this team.
We have a comment saying how struggling to figure out how PFF graded Quinion with a 53 overall and 51 coverage grade. Looking at this real quick. Defensive grade 53.5, run defense 63, tackling 78, and coverage 51. That does not check out.
PFF only gives
finest right there.
PFF only assigns coverage grades on reps where they're targeted. So they're looking at 4 plays from the whole game and giving him a coverage grade off of that. And they're also grading off of TV copy, which is kind of a joke.
Johnny, any thoughts on Quinion, or where do you want to take the defensive?
Firstly, I hate to say it because I'm someone that's used PFF a lot and still uses it. It's basically a complete joke for grading now. Like, it's got to the point where grades are completely pointless looking at. If I was an agent of a player, I wouldn't even talk about it in a meeting because I feel like you get laughed at the meeting at this point. I've always said that I think rookie cornerback's the hardest position to play. I think everyone gets beat badly, and Quinion hasn't. Like, that dude looks so smooth. I think Cuba DeJean looked good today. I think the secondary in general looked good, and I'm glad Shane gave Slay the credit that he deserves because he's always been really good in Philadelphia. It's just a shame that he hates Brian Baldinger, who's also a bit of a legend, but that's the dude.
That's not what I said.
No, I think the
that's what I heard, Johnny. That's what I heard.
Can hear me out. Brian Baldinger is wrong. He knows nothing about film. I think he said something about his dodgy finger as well, but maybe I made that up. It got a bit personal at that point, Shane. But yeah, I want to say the Eagles as well. Like, one of the things that I felt, and again, without the 22, I don't know, it looked to me like there was a lot more split safety in obvious passing situations. And I said this last week as well. I think the Eagles might just have been done with this cover 3 nonsense now, where they were just playing single high and getting burned every play. There was a lot of plays that looked like it was really, really good coverage on the back end. There was one play in particular. I thought Ball was awesome again in coverage from what I could see. I think this team needs to play more split safety. I remember seeing one snap in particular on one of the sacks when they were definitely playing like cover 6 or cover 8. I couldn't see what it was, but it looked more like a Fangio defense. There was no miscommunications, and I tweeted this sarcastically because I got in lots of arguments with people online. But notice how the Eagles defense all of a sudden tackles better when they're not giving running backs the ball 5 yards in space like they were against the Bucs. It's almost like tackling is almost like not something that changes that much from week to week. And actually, the reason why they missed a ridiculous amount of tackles one week was because the scheme was horrendous, and not because every Philadelphia Eagles defender suddenly couldn't tackle. And I got a lot of crap for that comment that week. So I'm gonna take the win when the Eagles actually tackle well. They tackled well because they had an easy tackle to make, because the guys I get the ball with running like horizontally, a running back with 5 yards of space, all of a sudden they tackle well. Sorry, Dubs, what were you going to say?
Yeah, my take on this is I'm going to enjoy this, and I'm going to, have some drinks. At the end of the day, though, I'm going to wait and see what Joe Burrow does against this defense.
Yes. I think the Fangio scheme in general, and I think you can go back to Jonathan Gannon under the Eagles, I think there might be an argument. They're a little bit of a sort of team that beats up on the little guy. I think sometimes against good quarterbacks, the Fangio defense can become unraveled because you can pick them apart underneath. And I think games like today, the Giants just don't have it. So next week will be a totally different beast against a proper NFL offense with a proper NFL quarterback. But still, you can only play who you can play, and the Eagles haven't given up a touchdown in 2 weeks now. So whatever you think, there is still some bad defenses around the league. There are some bad defensive players. I maintain what I've said all year. I think the defense is too talented to suck. if you can't make this defense work, and I know Howie's come under some criticism for certain positions, I know the Bryce Huff thing hasn't worked, and Hassan Reddick's gone, and Jordan Davis obviously isn't the player that they hoped when they drafted him. But I still think that if this defense is horrible, then your coach deserves blame, because they've got too much talent to not be good. They at least should be league average. And next week will be a real challenge because the Bengals are legitimately talented on the outside.
Yep.
I saw a comment there asking about Quinyon Mitchell having a shot at Defensive Rookie of the Year. I highly doubt it. So out of the last 10 years, it's a pass rusher award. Only 3 corners have won it in the last 10 years, and they had 8, 5, and 2 interceptions. But the 2 interceptions was Sauce Gardner, who, if you remember his rookie season, had all the hype in the world. He allowed I think it was 200 yards passing all season or something ridiculous like that. Unless Quinyon learns how to catch, I don't think he's got a shot at Defensive Rookie of the Year, but it'd be nice to see. It'd be nice to see him get more of that national recognition. I don't think it'll come in the way of that award, though.
I would agree. Awards they're very suited to a certain sort of type of player, aren't they, or a certain type of stat, and I do not think he has a chance. Speaking of winning, how are we going to win the podcast, Shane, without our host? It appears that, is there an internet problem? Are you going to have to take up Shane? No pressure, mid-podcast.
Our host has disappeared like Saquon Barkley does when the Eagles get to the 5-yard line.
Yeah, there we go, Paul. Now it's down to you to be the Jalen Hurts and run it in from 1 yard and take the fantasy points. I would also just add that Patrick Mahomes has just thrown his 7th interception this year, which means he now has more interceptions than touchdowns. So passing the football in 2024, Shane, not easy. And I've also just seen that Juju Smith-Schuster has gone out of a hamstring injury, which is great because I started him in all of my fantasy teams today. So really enjoying that as well. But, passing the football is not easy. Quarterbacks around the league are not balling out unless they play for the Vikings or the Lions, because apparently Jared Goff doesn't miss throws anymore. But then again, if I've got Justin Jefferson, I think I could play quarterback for the Vikings as well. But there you go. Dives is back. So we didn't have to see Shane host it. Thank goodness.
Yeah, we got a comment from Cameron saying that he didn't hear that from Baldy. He heard it in an interview from Huff. Huff's talked about how he likes being in a 4-point stance. But again, that's not why he was bad to start the year. Nor is it why he's played better now. He's just generally playing a little bit better. So, all right, Dives, you're back. We can stop waffling and let you get this shit back on track. That went about, while you were gone, me and Johnny hosting this went about as well as the Eagles scripted plays do. So,
all right. Let's get into does anybody have any other defensive takeaways before we get into player of the game and other segments?
Nope.
Yeah, let's get into our Eagles player of the game. Johnny, lead us off, man. Where are you going?
Sorry, was that just Eagles in general? Yeah, we're doing everything. I think I might have to go with this guy called Saquon Barkley. Not sure if you've heard of him by now. I think the Giants, to be fair to the Giants, though, Devin Singletary looked really good in his 9 snaps today. So it's a bit unfair to criticize him too much because that guy is an elite running back. So what did Devin Singletary get contract-wise? Frantically Googling that now. I spoke about market inefficiencies earlier, but it wasn't like a 3-year, $16 million deal. Yeah, there's a lot more than $20 million difference between Devin Singletary and Saquon Barkley. I think I'll take the layup, seeing as you gave it to me first, and last week I picked a Jomo, so I will take the layup and say Saquon Barkley.
Johnny, you go for way too many layups. I'm just throwing it out there. Shane, where are you going, man?
I mean, I can't believe that Johnny didn't take Moro Ojomo again, but I'll take AJ Brown, 5 receptions, 5 targets, 89 yards and a touchdown. That touchdown was huge on the 4th down. But I do want to give a shout out to my guy, Sidney Brown, coming in off the bench, off an injury, getting the pass breakup. I just tweeted that clip with the Sid, and I said Sid with the little heart emoji from your hands, because I love Sidney Brown, and I'm so glad to see him back on a football field.
All right. I'm going with the only way I could do this. Give me Quinyon Mitchell going up against a guy with 13 targets a game, just limiting Malik Neighbors to 4 receptions on 41 yards, I think it was. Here's a great hit, great stick from Quinyon Mitchell. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm ready for that.
But he was bad in coverage today.
Yeah, clearly. I am all in on Quinyon Mitchell. I cannot wait for him to get opportunities for CB1 going forward. I don't know. D-Slade conversation I'm not ready for. I have my own takes. But anyway, let's get into what other segments do we have, Shane? I'm drawing a blank.
Words.
3 words. Let's get into our Eagles game in 3 words or less. Let's do it.
Maybe it doesn't go worst when Dives isn't there. I don't know. All right, so each week we tweet out from the Eagles Pinpoll Twitter account at Eagles Pinpoll asking for your 3-word reactions to the game. So every day, every game, when it's over, head over to Twitter and drop your 3-word reactions. We might read them on the show. You can also drop them in the chat here on YouTube or Twitter Live, and we can throw some of those up as well. But we have Tom chiming in and says, euphoric, relieved, excited. And I kind of like the fact that he didn't make it like a 3-word sentence. It's just 3 distinct words. And we don't get that very often. So I liked that one. We got from Down 3R20 said, felt like 22. Felt like 2022.
I like that. I like that a lot.
We got an almost stress-free from Mr. Dog Food. It was pretty stress-free. At least the second half was stress-free. I might have got a little stressed early in the game. But from at @the_K bottoms, we got Philly Georgia Dogs. Howie has gotten a lot of flack for his drafting, and the young guys are really looking good right now. But David said stumbling into explosions. We got a coaches still unprepared from Junior. We got a just like that from Kevin, and then a DE's get home from Dan Jones. So those are some of our 3 words from Twitter. For my 3 words, I'm going to go with rest well, John. Sleep. I'll go with sleep well, John, because John Mara said he couldn't sleep well at night if Saquon went to the Eagles. So rest well, John.
I love it. Johnny, do you have a 3 words or less?
Oh my God, I've been trying to think of about 1,000 things while listening to them, and I'm failing the podcast.
It's hard to do, Johnny, when you're doing it live. And
it's horrendous. Let's go with there's one by B. Watson with a lovely curse word in that was going to be something around mine, but I'll go with multiple run game instead, because that felt like the kind of run game that I've been waiting to see for a while, where they do a lot of different things. I'll go with multiple run game for this week.
I like that a lot. I'm going to go positive. I've been getting killed on YouTube from comments that I'm too negative. I'm too critical about the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to go good vibes only. Again, and I said my piece. We'll see what Joe Burrow does against this defense next week. But good vibes only. Let's enjoy this. We finally got a Eagles win with more than 1 score. We finally got a great Saquon game, and overall a game that was very solid on both sides of the football, which never happens. Never happens. So for me, good vibes only. Let's enjoy this.
When Joe Burrow.
Sorry, Shane. I was going to say, if you want a bonus 3 words as well, you could say Shane hates Baldy as well. The most important 3 words for this week. There are some great ones coming in. Yeah, that's a good one. And also Cameron Crawford's got to have the winner of the week. Not that we have a winner of the week, but new giant killer. I love. Yeah, that's awesome. Sorry, Boston Scott. As a new man in town, that is a great one.
Oh yeah, Cooper DeJean had a great return. Q's calling that one out as well. When the Eagles step onto the field in Cincinnati to take on Joe Burrow, it will have been 27 days since the Eagles defense last allowed a touchdown. So hopefully we can keep that streak going. All right, Dives, we got it. That's about it, isn't it? We got anything else? You're muted.
Dives on mute. Classic.
I'm pulling up the Cooper DeJean video. I thought.
Oh my God, how cool is that when your nickel cornerback can run a punt like that?
Here it is, my man, Cooper DeJean. When's the last time we saw something like this in an Eagles uniform? Reno Mai.
Maybe he should be out there on offense a little bit too.
Mate, Dejean at fullback. Start it now. Start it now. Just run a little play action, sneak him out there into the flat, give him 1 or 2 every game.
How dare you take that away from Ben Van Sumeren?
Double fullback. Let's go. Real old school. Once a block, once a run in motion. What more could you want? Dejean's a fullback. Start the calls on Twitter.
It's going to be unbelievable when Tyler Warren is in that role next season. I'm just throwing it out there. Throwing it into existence. Tyler Warren is 6'5" fullback. Just saying. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Shane, final thoughts on this one. Plugs. Time is yours.
Yeah, thanks everybody for joining in on the post-game show. Always fun hanging out with you guys, especially fun hanging out with you after a win. Make sure you smash that subscribe button on the Eagles Pinpool YouTube channel, wherever you stream your podcast. This show will be in that feed later today for podcasts. We'll have 7 other shows coming your way between now and the Bengals game, breaking down this game, getting into the X's and O's, previewing the Bengals game, talking to a Bengals reporter. There's going to be a lot of content flying your way. So everybody that's listening, please go subscribe to that wherever you get your podcasts. That will really help us out a lot.
Oh, he's gone mute again. He's gone mute twice in one episode. Dives, it's a shocker. How many times have you done this?
Final thoughts, Johnny. Plugs.
Final plugs. Yeah, read the usual stuff on Twitter and on Bleeding Green this week. It's going to be a fun one. I think we'll just stick to the positivity this week. I'm very near your birthday, Dives. Mine is in 2 days, so this will be the last bit of content in my 20s. And also, if anyone is there in Cincinnati next week, I am flying out to the game next week. So if anyone listening now happens to be in Cincinnati next week and is at the Eagles game, keep an eye out for me. I shall be there. So next time you hear from me, I may have some takes from an actual game in person. So I've not seen the Eagles live since I believe they played London in 2019. I think that might have been the last time I saw an Eagles team play in the flesh. So yes, that is true. Bread Eclipse, I should have the run more pistol. If someone makes me a sign and turns up, I'm not sure I'm getting through the flight to it, but if I can somehow make one and someone gets a photo of me standing outside the ground with run more pistol, that would be iconic. I'm all for it. If someone brings it, I'm all for it. And if you see Nick Sirianni arguing with fans next week, just you know who's screaming at him. It would definitely be me.
All these people in the chat wishing Dives and Johnny happy birthday. Mine was 2 months ago, and you guys all missed it. So that can be your burden to bear for the next 10 months. You can hit me up
because they like Brian Baldinger, Shane. They're Team Baldy.
Yeah, stop talking shit on Brian Baldinger, man.
My bad. Never again.
It's that easy. All right, guys. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Wherever you're watching, please be sure to like, subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow, Tuesday, especially for Birds of the Round Table, breaking down everything Eagles and a preview of the Bengals game. One last time, he is Shane at Shane Half NFL. That is the Johnny Page at Johnny Page 9. I am Dives, Mr. Crockpot. Stay awesome, everyone.